a funny way I got started in grant writing. I moved to a new condo in La Mesa about 20 years ago. Met a neighbor in the pool and asked her what she did, and she said, I'm a grant writer, and I said, I want to learn that, and she said, okay, I'll teach you. So that's how it all started. And so I've been with Grant Writing Specialist for about 20 years on a very part-time basis, back and forth, not consistent all the way through. When the market crashed, that was kind of a bad time for grant writing because nobody was giving anybody any money, so you don't want to charge a client to help them raise funds when you know there's no funds there that they're going to get. So I kind of, put it by the side. I worked for 26 years for the Superior Court, and one of my positions there was to be the grant coordinator. So fortunately, because I had that experience outside of working for the court, I was able to get that job and really help raise a lot of funds for all the different programs in the court, juvenile court, drug programs, you name it. So it was a lot of fun, and then we learned to coordinate with a lot of different agencies in the city of San Diego, like Health and Human Services. City of San Diego, we started a court in Mid-City that was for juveniles, and that was to help them, instead of having a blemish on their record if they committed a, misdemeanor first time, that they could actually do community service work, and they were judged by a group of their peers. So they would give them, you have to clean up graffiti, you have to do something to pay off your debt. So they were able to do that without getting a criminal record. So that was kind of a great thing to help some young people out that, just kind of went a little bit by the wayside. But with grant writing, our group is actually a large group, and so different people have different areas of expertise. For example, I generally work with youth groups. I've worked actually for 20 years with a group called the Young Artist Music Academy down in Southeast San Diego, raised a lot of money for them. They work with inner city youth with after-school classes, helping them, stay off the streets, stay out of gangs. So a lot of times a nonprofit is not just about, for example, just about a music program. It's about really changing the lives of these kids, and you find that most nonprofits, that's what they're all about. They're really about helping people change their lives and really making a difference. So, throughout the years, we've run a lot around, a lot of scam artists, people, oh, I'm helping veterans, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Well, how many people are you assisting? Well, nobody right now. Oh, seriously? But you want money to help nobody. So you find people that kind of get in the business to, put the money in their own pockets. But they eventually get found out. The Attorney General in the state of California is very active in keeping track of what nonprofits are doing. And I was telling this young lady about if you want to know all the rules and regulations of running a nonprofit in the state of California, just go to the Attorney General's website, download the guide for nonprofits, and you really have your Bible to make sure you're doing everything legitimate and, following all the rules that you're supposed to follow. But, the other thing with nonprofits, when I first started in this business, there were a few nonprofits in San Diego. Now there's a multitude. So there's a lot more people vying for the same pots of money, so it is more difficult to get funding. People have this pie in the sky idea. Just because I started a nonprofit, people are going to be giving me everything. I'm going to get all kinds of money to do this and do that. It's not easy. It's very difficult. You have to have a good program. You have to have a good budget. You have to have a good board. There's all kinds of requirements. In other words, we call it get your ducks in a row. So there's many things you have to do before anybody's going to give you a penny to help you. Because these organizations that give out the money, they want to make sure that they're getting a benefit for what they're putting their money in. They don't want to just give you money and you're going to say I'm helping 500 kids and you're helping 5 kids. So it's very important that you're really legitimate and you're doing what you say you're going to do. So we can help you with all different aspects of running a nonprofit, from actually starting, getting your 501c3 designation, to helping you develop your board, helping you develop a budget. You have to have a good budget. Sometimes we've started with some people who right away, executive director wants 60 grand the first year. Well, you know, if your budget's 150,000 and you're taking 60,000 of it, you know, that's not looking too good to any funder. So you really, there's a lot to learn in the whole process, but it is very rewarding. One group, I get what's called the first five to help children from 0 to age 5, and it was $250,000. It was a lot of work. It took me about 60 hours to do the project. And you know, the other thing is, a grant writer is not a miracle worker. You can't go into an organization and write a grant based on what you know. You have to have the people in there working with you, telling you what are their programs, who are they helping, what have they done. You know, the people in the organization are the ones that really assist you to put all the information together to make it presentable to give to a funder, to say, yeah, this is a great program, they're really working hard, they're helping children, these are some of the results they've had, or they're helping veterans, you know, they've got so many veterans off the street, they've got people homes, and, you know, all those types of things. So, and that's about it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That was great information. I did start my own nonprofit about 4 years ago, and it's very difficult. And what I find interesting is the reason that most people start a nonprofit is because they have this burning desire to make a difference and to help people, which it's so admirable and it's so wonderful. But my first piece of advice to anyone who wants to start a nonprofit is to first find out, is there some place I can volunteer that is along the same lines of what I want to do? Or maybe there's an organization that wants what you have, but they don't have the funds to start the project. So maybe you can come in and pitch a project idea to them that you actually run. So you can still do the same thing you want, but then you're under their auspices, because it is a lot of work to start a nonprofit. So there's a lot of information that's needed to have up here in your brain before you just do what I did, and that's like, I'm going to start a nonprofit, I'm just going to go file and I'm going to do it, and I had no information at all. So there was a lot for me to learn along the way, and how important it is to have everything in order.
One thing I forgot to mention is that our organization for all of these years has done free community classes. So they're pretty much all around the year. They might take a couple of months off. But starting with, like I said, how to get your ducks in a row, you know, how to develop your board. This week we have a class on how to do special events, you know, how to not make mistakes, how to, you know, some people will do a special event and then they spend so much to put on the event, yes, they get no profit, you know, so what's the point?
So where can people find those?
www.grantwritingspecialist.com, and you're going to, specialist with an S. And you'll see on the left-hand side, it'll say classes or events. So, you know, you can look on there and find quite a bit of information. And, yeah, please come to any of the classes. We'd love to have you. And it really, really helps people learn a lot. And like you said, if you're new and you're thinking about starting it out, this will tell you how much work it's going to be and what it's going to take. So it's good to find those things out first.
Yes, of all of that. Yeah, because I love putting on events. Who here does not know that? So I love putting on events. And yeah, when I first started, I had no idea that we might actually have to spend money, because I was living in this pipe dream that we're a nonprofit. Everybody wants to help us. Everybody's just going to give us everything. You know, that's how I went into it. Granted, we got most of it donated, but not all of it. And I think we ended up at the end raising about $1,000 with 5 months of work. I would rather have just gotten $1,000 in a dollar donation from 1,000 people than, well, I shouldn't say that because I really liked putting on the event. But with that said, you know, it is a lot of thinking that has to be put into anything you do with a nonprofit. So thanks, Kathy. I'm glad you were here today to be able to share some information. It's funny how you got started. You just never know how anybody's going to get started doing what they're doing.